Well, hi everybody. Hope you're all doing okay. I am recording this session so that I can keep uploading sessions onto YouTube, so there's lots there for people to do if they can't make a live class. So I hope that's working out for you all. If you would like to come to lying on your backs, please. So taking your time to settle with your knees bent, feet standing on the floor about hip distance apart. Arms down by your sides, or you could have your hands over your lower belly if that feels nice. And taking a few moments to arrive in the body. Feeling yourself in the body. Noticing what happens when you close your eyes and you allow your attention to drop into physical sensation. Noticing the weight. If your head feels particularly heavy, or the back of your pelvis. Maybe you feel heavy in your legs, back of your ribs. But tuning into those parts of the body that are in contact with the floor beneath you. So you can feel that support. So that you know that for the whole of this practice, you're being held. And it may be this sense of holding, this sense of ease can carry on with you into the evening, maybe further. And having a check-in with your breath. No specific breathing practice today, but always bringing your attention to the quality of your breath. How easy is it to breathe right now? Or do you find some obstruction, some restriction in the breathing? Where do you feel your body move in response to every inhalation and every exhalation? And taking a moment to reflect on the kind of quality you'd like to bring into your practice. So this is a way of intention setting. What would the kind of quality of your practice be best for you today? And what kind of quality would you be able to prolong, take off the mat into your evening? It could be a quality of vitality, aliveness. Or it could be a quality of compassion for yourself or for another. Or it could be anything that arises for you right now. And before we start moving into our bodies, taking a while to really allow this quality that you've selected. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. But allowing it to settle behind the breastbone, in the heart space. So you can almost feel it there together with your beating heart. You could even take your hands and place them over the heart space to feel that beat. And then next time you're ready to breathe in, taking a full breath in. And on the exhalation, sigh it all out. And take another full breath in. And sigh it all out. Feel yourself melting towards the floor, through the floor. And one more time, taking a full breath in. And then returning to a natural breath. And we'll start with something very familiar today. We'll start with some very simple rocking in the pelvis. So you could do this either with your fingers to your hips or arms by your sides. And with a breath in, beginning to rock very slowly over your tailbone as you tilt your pelvis forwards. So you're peeling your lower vertebra off the floor, but not picking up the hips. And then when you're ready to breathe out, maybe a slight pressing into your feet as you tilt your pelvis back. So your lower back, your lower spine finds the mat. And you even feel a little bit of a curling up of your tailbone. And your abdomen compresses back towards your spine. Have a go at a few of these. I think all of you are here tonight are used to doing this. It's just very soothing, especially if you haven't been practicing for a while. I know for some of you the change schedule from last week wasn't convenient. And continue rocking like this, continue rocking, but noticing how the movement that's initiated from the pelvis actually ripples up the whole of your body. So you feel your head rubbing on the mat, you feel your chest moving in a little bit of a wave. So keep the focus, the starting point with the tilting of the pelvis, but then the softer and more receptive you are in the body, the more you'll notice how the whole of the upper body in particular is rippling in response. Breathing with the movement. Really feeling everything this afternoon, feeling your skin, being aware that your internal organs are an integral part of this practice. Your stomach, your liver and kidneys, your pancreas, your reproductive organs, especially in this kind of tilting. It's a very soothing movement for the lower abdomen. And it may be that you'd like to continue exactly as we are. Or it may be that you'd like to, as you breathe out, press into your feet. And following the curling up of the tailbone, lift the hips and the side waist and the pelvis into the air. And then slowly, bone by bone, on an inhalation, coming all the way back down. And with that same inhalation, tilting the pelvis forwards. And with the exhalation, drawing back and flattening and then lifting up, bone by bone. And continue in your way. So some of you may only lift a few centimeters. And some of you may feel you want to expand into your chest and come up quite high. Doesn't actually matter. You don't even need to lift at all. The idea is to be super sensitive to every millimeter of the movement. There's absolutely no hurry. We're back in the realms of post-ambitious yoga. I know some of you enjoyed that term. In my life right now, I think it's post-ambitious everything. And some of you may find that once you've come up, if you're coming up, you might like to stay a while and even shift around a bit with your arms and your shoulders to find a little bit more purchase, a little bit more leverage, maybe even touching your fingers to your heels. Really strong legs pressing into your feet. And taking 3 to 5 breaths. Please don't feel you have to stay up here. You could keep that soothing, flowing movement going. But if you are up here, taking 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And then bone by bone, you need to release your shoulders do. Bone by bone, your spine comes down like a string of pearls, one at a time, reaching the mat. And feeling that weight, that rootedness as your sacrum comes all the way down. And take a moment to breathe into the lower belly. And it might be nice to bring your knees in towards your chest and have a little bit of a rock around. Maybe a little bit of a circling. And then we're going to come and do one of my favourite things, which I think we've done before, but maybe not for a while, I'm not sure. And that is where we're going to come, what side? I'm on my right side of the body here. So I'd like you to line yourself up quite carefully so that your thighs are coming out at a right angle and that your arms are going to be coming out at a right angle. So you should be able to see your toes beyond your knees. So it's like a whole lot of right angles behind the knees, front of the pelvis, arms coming out of the shoulders. If you need to rest your head on a block or a cushion, that'll be fine. I want you to, this is a very tactile, sensual way of twisting. So first of all, becoming aware that your left palm is lightly resting on your right palm. And rather than just rush into a twist, begin to slide the left hand just about halfway up the inside of the right arm, but then slide it back again. And notice how your head rolls, and maybe you slide your left hand further over the right hand to the floor. And then you slide the left hand back, and maybe it comes a little bit further, not quite reaching the inner elbow. Notice how your head rolls and your shoulder moves back. And then you rock forwards again over to your forehead maybe, and the left hand continues. And it's absolutely fine for your legs to move with these movements as you want. You don't need to keep them stuck together. I'm not going to tell you what to do there. Some of you might like to keep the knees stuck, and some of you might find you open in the knee and the hip. So the idea here is that you increase the sliding up the arm a little bit, maybe like 5 or 10 centimeters every time. And correspondingly, your head rolls. So a teacher who came from Mandala Ashram to the River Room recently, Krishna Premananda, he suggested that it would actually take about 45 minutes maybe to open entirely. Now, obviously that is not what we're going to do, but it gives you a sense of the quality of this very tactile movement. It's not about spinning open into a twist. It's about feeling the skin, feeling the shoulders, the head. So I'm going to shut up now and allow you to roll around a little bit. Maybe opening to the left, and your gaze ends up going to the left. And there's no synchrony with the breath here, you're just breathing naturally as you go. When you do come to an open twist, when you're right over to the left and looking at your left hand, absolutely fine to stay there for a few breaths, see what that feels like. But really inviting as much softness into the body as possible. And I'm going to leave you just for a few more moments to explore that very gentle, seaweedy, kelpy twist. Very sensual movement, I think. Sometimes I get up in the morning and Will is doing this, and he does it. He literally does do it for half an hour. And bring about quite a lovely release, both the hips and the upper body. So in a few moments, we're going to come to the end of doing this kelpy twist on this side. And the medal goes to the person who moved the least distance across to the left. And then wherever you are, closing in on yourself and just resting for a few moments, your palms together, lying on the side of your body. Before you are ready to bring your kelpy twist over onto the left-hand side. So lining yourself up again with all those right angles. Now the right hand is on top of the left. And you know what to do. So I'm going to allow you some time to simply slide the right hand beyond the left hand, a little way into the forearm. Really noticing how your head is getting a massage and your shoulders and your hips are just moving with a natural flow, a watery quality. You can even imagine you are underwater. And continuing in your own time. Only coming as open to the right as feels right for you this evening. No hurry at all. But staying very alert, very alive. And the simplicity and the delicacy of this movement. It's a very delicate movement. And absolutely fine if you fancy coming all the way open to the right and staying there. Maybe even looking over to the right, then stay for a few breaths. And soften. And breathe. Just a few more moments. You decide if you want to stay or if you want to keep moving. Just a few more moments in this slidey twist. Noticing how your body responds. It's a really great way of observing where the body's holding tension. It's much more akin to Feldenkrais than yoga, what we're doing. There are huge overlaps between the two approaches to body-mind work. And the next time you close over, sliding your hands together and taking a few breaths here, just resting. Until you're ready to roll over onto your back again. And in fact, could you slide both feet away and lie for a moment with the whole body extended, just to feel the softness maybe, or maybe there's no change for you. But observing if there is any difference in the way in which your body lands on the mat, in the way in which you breathe. And if you want to remind yourself of the quality that you've invited into your practice, maybe take your hands over your heart space just for a breath or two. And then when you're ready, bending up your knees, taking your feet on the floor, and taking your right ankle over the left knee, arms down by your sides. And taking a breath in, as you breathe out, lifting your legs towards you, keeping your arms down. And then breathing in, taking your left foot back down. And breathing out, lifting your legs towards you again. And breathing in, dropping the left foot very gently. And this time breathing out and coming up to stay. You can, if you can, you take your left hand through the gap in between your legs and you interlace it with the right hand, either behind the left thigh or over the shin. Some of you might need something under your heads if your chin's jutting up. And taking a few breaths to feel into the right hip, the right buttock. So you're drawing the left knee in towards you as you invite the right knee to move away a little bit. You might want to flex the right foot to protect the tissues around the right knee. And breathe. And then taking a full breath in, on the breath out, lift your head in towards your legs and pull yourself into a little bundle. And take another breath in here. Oh, I love doing this. And then breathe out gently. Settle yourself down. And we're going to do something slightly strange. Let's see how we get on. I haven't taught it online before. Can you take hold of your right foot with your left hand? And take your right arm up past your head. And the left knee still bent. And what I'd like you to do, with that same quality of softness as the seaweedy twist, is begin to rock over to the right. You might roll your head onto your hand. Your knee might come towards the floor. But then you're also rocking back over to the left. Maybe your right big toe touches the floor. So it's a little bit of a rolly round practice today. We're just rolling around. And the idea with this movement, which is also kind of pseudo Feldenkrais, is to build it up. So you might come over a little bit the first time, and the next time you might roll over a bit more. You might use your right arm swing yourself over and swing yourself back to the left. So the arm is moving in the shoulder socket, which is also quite nice for any accumulated tension here. And at some point, you might swing yourself all the way up and then come all the way down. So you're just rolling around. But we are aiming now to come all the way up over that right knee. I hope this is making sense to you. And then rolling all the way back. So you could roll around a couple more times. And at some point, coming all the way up to meet me, with your right foot coming in towards your left knee. And the left foot is by your left hip. So this might feel very comfortable for some people and quite awkward for others. So just be aware of what is going on in the pelvis and the hips. It's asymmetrical. And then with your hands on your knee, taking a breath in. And as you breathe out, drop your left ear to the left shoulder. And then breathe in, lift up to the top. And breathe out, drop over to your right shoulder. Let's do that a couple of times, just feeling into the neck. Nothing too extreme. For some reason, I've got the Zoom not mirroring me, so everything looks a bit odd. I don't know how it is for you. I need to tick a box I haven't ticked. And then bringing your head back to neutral. And as you breathe in, lift your chin. Feel the opening in your throat, and then breathe out, close it down again. And then as you breathe in, lift your chin. All the while you're softening down into the hips, and breathe out, chin in towards your chest. Maybe noticing, maybe observe as you continue this simple head and neck movement, how your hips actually have a little bit of a conversation with the neck vertebrae. When I bring my chin into my chest, there's a sinking feeling, a release in the left hip. Lovely. And then bringing your head back to neutral. And we're going to see if we can bring any movement in the spine into this at all. So do you remember the pelvic tilting when you're lying on your back? That's what we're going to do, but this is really restricted now intentionally. So as you breathe in, tilt the pelvis forwards, open the chest. It's a little bit mermaidy. And as you breathe out, tilt the pelvis back and draw in on yourself, navel to the spine. As you breathe in, tilt forward. And some of you I know will find this awkward in the hips. It's a little bit pinching in my hips, so see how you get on. And take a few more movements like this, a few more rocking movements. Seeing if you can free up the pelvis, free up the spine with time. You could even take your hands to your knees if that's easier. Just a few more. Again, with that same sensual rocking quality. This is so good for the parasympathetic nervous system. That branch of our nervous system that we need healthy if we want to relax and to tune into our intuition and our creativity rather than to keep responding to crisis. It's not that we shouldn't respond to crisis, but sometimes our default mode to respond is with adrenaline and with high drive. It's bringing a little bit of softness and intuition can absolutely change the way we live our lives. Okay, coming back to neutral spine. We'll take a little twist in this. This is a deer pose that we're in. Take a breath in And as you breathe out, move around, twist around to the left. You can swish your arms with you, take your head with you. Take a moment to feel that twist. And take a breath in, and on the breath out, move yourself around to the right. And you can lift up that left hip if you like, don't keep it pinned down. And keep moving, inhale and exhale, twist. And inhale and exhale, twist. And it's fine to lift that left hip as you look over your right shoulder. You do that a couple more times. And it would be quite normal, by the way, to find this a little bit restricted, slightly awkward. Okay. And then taking a moment here. And then bringing the soles of your feet together, just for a moment in a much more neutral, symmetrical pose before we take all that to the other side. You can even lean forwards if you like into butterfly and just take a few breaths here, allowing the lower back to settle. And this should feel much easier for the hips. Lovely, soothing breath. And then when you're ready, lifting up your torso, taking your legs out as far as they'll go. Big toes are pulling towards you. And then begin to circle in the hips. So you could have your hands on your knees, you could have your hands on your hips. You could be stirring if that's better, and that's one of these things we've been doing in the mornings. I think I've lost track of when we did this. Just a few circles. And then reverse the direction of those circles. So you're just stirring around in the pelvis. Wonderful. Stirring around, just noticing how all the bones of the pelvis and the hips are feeling right now, and the tissues and muscles. And then slowing that down, slowing that down. And taking a moment to feel the body here. It's actually quite a deep practice, and I don't know if you can feel it, but it kind of gets right in there. And we're going to take all of that to the left. So if you'd like to come onto your back, left ankle over the right knee, maybe toes flexed a little bit towards the knee. And taking a breath in, and on the breath out, lift your legs towards you, your hands are on the floor. And on the breath in, dip your right foot back down. And breathe out, lift your legs towards you. And breathe in, dip your right foot down. And this time, bring your legs towards you. And if you can, thread your left hand through the gap. And hold on to the right hand either behind the right thigh or over the shin. Putting something under your head if you have a tendency to jut your chin up towards the ceiling. And then it's fine to wriggle around a little bit here to feel into the left hip. You're pulling your right knee, your right leg in towards you and encouraging the left knee to move away from you. And see how that feels for a few breaths. Lovely and soft in the face. See if you can let go in the face and the throat. And then taking a full breath in. And as you breathe out, lift your head and your legs towards each other. And take another breath in when you're here, really hugging in, drawing everything in. Breathing out, releasing your head and your legs. And now we take that strange movement where we take the left foot in the right hand. You can swing the left arm up past your ear. And so do you remember we just rock a little bit to the left, rock a little bit to the right, and just allow the arm to swing with you as you come a little bit more to each side every time. So this might be very free movement for you. Or you might find this a bit sticky, a bit awkward. It's definitely a bit awkward for me with practicing right against these panels. I can't actually really do the movement fully, but I hope you've got enough room to move. And if you're practicing with somebody, you might be having quite fun rolling around, trying to avoid each other or not. Sounds like domestic living right now. And take a few more rolls, maybe coming a little bit over each side. Such a release with this movement in the whole of the spine and the pelvis. And eventually you roll, whoa, you'll use your hand to come all the way up. And you can slide all the way down again, roll over. You might take 2 or 3 of these just to practice rolling all the way up until you roll up to join me. With your right foot by your hip here and the left foot in towards the right knee. And take a moment to see how you feel here in the pelvis, if it feels a bit hitched up on one side or if you're able to drop down. We'll do that neck movement again. So breathing in. As you breathe out, take your right ear to your right shoulder. And then breathe in, come to the top. Breathe out, left shoulder to the left ear. Breathe in, come to the top. And let's take it another time to the right. Another side to the left. And then breathe into the top. And breathe out, take your chin to your chest. See how you can release down through the right hip just by doing that. And then breathing in, peeling your head up, opening your throat. And breathe out, come back down again. Just a couple more times. There's no hurry. Sometimes we don't even know we have tension in parts of the body until we shine a light on it. It's kind of what we're doing. And then bringing your head to neutral. We'll come to those slightly restricted cat-cow movements with the spine. So really dropping down through the right hip as much as is available for you. And then breathing and tilting forwards, really opening the chest, maybe taking the chin up. And on the breath out, tilt the pelvis back. And you might even pull your hands on your knees to feel the navel coming in towards the spine. On the breath in, you rock forwards. I don't know why this makes me think of a mermaid. I think it's my fantasy of having really, really long golden hair down my back, which is really never going to happen. Just bringing this very gentle rocking. Maybe you find that you're a little bit more open now than you were before. Just notice every millimetre of the movement without being in a rush. And taking a couple more. And then coming back to neutral, and we'll come into that twist. So take a breath in, and on the breath out, twist to the right. Just exploring your range of movement, nothing too rigid. And then breathing in. On the breath out, twist around to the left, lift the right hip if you need to. Look over the left shoulder, breathing in, and then breathe out, twist to the right. Breathing in, spin around and twist to the left, lifting the right hip. Take a few rounds. I'm really looking to free up this right hip with the movement. It's not a big movement at all. Okay, and then coming back. And taking your feet out in front of you. Feet together, just like we did before. And this time, take a breath in and feel a space right up the front of your body. And as you breathe out, maybe release forwards a little bit. Just breathe space now out through the back of your pelvis, into your groin, into your buttocks, to just release any tension you might have accumulated in those repetitive movements. And then gently coming up. And we'll take that stirring movement again. So legs wide apart, toes pulled towards you. And either circling with your hands on your hips. I think it really helps though to imagine you're churning butter. So you're circling from one big toe to the other and then pulling back. So it's such a freedom of movement, this, compared to what we were doing in that strange deer pose. So let it rip, let it go, really swing around in the hips. And then reverse the direction of the circles. Wonderful. And then slow that down. And take a breath in and a breath out, really feeling down through your sitting bones. And then taking your fingers behind your knees. And drawing your knees in towards your chest. So we're looking for quite a straight spine if you can and a nice open chest. And take a breath in and then breathe out. Rock yourself into half boat, Navasana. So I'm holding my legs here, pointing through the toes. I'm trying to relax in the shoulders and the chest and the jaw. So this may be where you want to stay. Or maybe you can take your arms out to your sides. Maybe you can pulse a little bit. So on the inhale, you open. Don't feel you have to do this. On the exhale, you draw in. And on the inhale, you open. And on the exhale, you draw in. So all that opening we did, we're now bringing strength to the same muscles that we were freeing. Take a few. And if that you need to hold the knees, absolutely fine. It just takes some of the effort off. Let's take 5 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. It's quite hard, isn't it? Inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale. And then exhale, bring your knees in, give yourself a little squeeze. And then rock forwards. Maybe your legs are crossed, it doesn't matter. And take a breath here just to soften down in the lower belly. And we're going to come to an all fours position. So you might be able to simply roll over, or you might come another way, it doesn't matter. So your hands are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. Nice neutral spine. And for the 3rd time today, we're going to take those pelvic tilts, but now it is a genuine cat-cow. So begin to breathe in and just flow with that breath in. Let's not be too complicated about this, and dip the spine, open the chest. And then breathe out, tilt the pelvis back, lift the navel. Just take a few. We're looking to liberate the spine. So good for us. Really allow the spine to ripple with the breath. And then when you're ready, curling your toes under, and without any complicated teaching here, just lifting yourself to your version of a downward dog and taking 5 breaths. And if that is with bent knees, that's great. You might want to rest in child's pose. But taking 5 breaths here to just open out the body and breathe fully into the ribs. Maybe lifting your heels and dropping them again. 2 more full breaths. And then looking in between your hands, gently walk your feet and your hands in towards each other. So you end up in a standing forward fold, quite nice and curly. And take a few breaths here, feeling the upper body cascading out of the pelvis. So your shoulders, your head, everything's floppy, ragdoll. And it's up to you. You might like to stay here with the knees bent in the ragdoll version, or you might like to straighten your legs and come into a slightly stronger forward fold, opening up the backs of your legs. Breathing. Really helps to tilt the weight forwards onto the front of the feet for this. Taking a breath in and breathing out, take your hands to your hips. Take another breath in, and then we're going to come up all the way on a breath out, straight spine. And take a moment to feel the body here. Lovely. And then rolling your shoulders up to your ears and back. Can you interlace your hands behind your back? And I'm taking my hands quite high up the spine, so to release the shoulders. And then inhaling, open the chest, and exhale, draw your hands behind you now. You can bring them down past the tailbone, opening the chest. Maybe soft knees, maybe not. And breathe here for a moment. Only bring your hands out behind you if that works for your shoulders. You're really squeezing the shoulder blades together. And take a breath in. And then on the breath out, leading with the chest hinge forwards. And we'll take 5 breaths here, if that's okay for you. If you need to come up to standing, please do. And what I love to do is bend into the one knee and look over the shoulder of the other side. So I'm bending into the right knee and twisting to look over my left shoulder. Gives a lovely stretch of the shoulder. You can bend in the left knee, twist to look over the right shoulder. So find your way with this. Quite a deep shoulder stretch. One more breath in. And then breathing out, hands to the back of your lower back. Just release the shoulders. In fact, slide your hands down the back of your legs. And pressing through your feet, come up, taking your arms up over your head, inhale. And exhale, hands down in front of the heart space. And take a moment to feel the body. So we did a lot of rolling around, trying to look for upper body and hip release. And I'd like to see if that brings any benefits to some standing postures. So just ask yourself what you notice in these standing postures. If you'd like to take your feet quite wide apart along the long end of your mat, and then take the right foot out, left foot in 45 degrees. So we're going to come to classical Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So the front heel is in line with the instep of the back foot. Bring your hands together in your heart space and take a breath in. And as you breathe out, bend into the right knee and open your arms out. As you breathe in, straighten hands to the heart. As you breathe out, find that pose. One more time, breathe in. And breathe out, and now we stay. So just check over your back fingers and see that your arm is pretty much level, parallel with the floor. And then take your gaze over your front fingers. And I'm going to leave you for 3 to 5 breaths to simply
experience the pose after all that work we've done. I'm not going to give too much instruction here, apart from stay very steady with the breath. And smile and feel the pose from the inside out. And then inhaling, straighten the front leg, hands to your hips. And exhale here. Take another inhale and then exhale back into warrior two, but turn over your right palm and slide your way into reverse warrior. So you might want to straighten that front leg a little bit and find a little bit more room for movement. Just taking a couple of breaths, really feeling into the right side of the ribs. You might take your head back, you might look down over the back shoulder. Breathe and feel it. It's a different type of practice, this, to what we were doing on the floor. But I think the two can complement each other beautifully. One more breath in. And then breathe out. Come back to having straight legs to take the pressure off, hands to your hips. Take a full breath in. And now breathe out, bend into the front knee and take your elbow to the knee. Just dangle the left arm down the side. And breathe in, peel open with that left arm. Maybe looking up towards the fingertips if that's right for you. Maybe breathing out, bringing the arm over your ear. So you could look down at your front foot, or you could spin a bit more. You could even bend the elbow here to help you spin a bit more around to the left. Take a couple of breaths. Don't take it any deeper than's right for you. Don't overbend the knee, for example. Beautiful. One more breath in, and then look down at the front foot as you exhale, and inhale, gently come up. Bring your feet to parallel, hands to your hips. Turn your toes in a little bit, heels out, and breathe and feel the spaciousness in the upper body. And breathe out, hinge forwards. Hinge forwards, lovely long spine. You can bend your knees if you need to. And you could either have your hands under your shoulders, the spine flat with the floor, or you might walk your hands all the way through, holding onto your legs, whatever you like, for 3 breaths. 3 breaths. Again, absolutely fine to bend your knees. One more breath in, and a long breath out. And then bending your knees, bring your hands to your hips, and inhale, bring yourself all the way up. Exhale here, and we'll take those poses to the left. So left foot pointing to the end of the mat, right foot in 45 degrees, hands to your heart. Take a breath in here, and then breathe out, open into your version of warrior two. And then breathe in, straighten hands back to your heart. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And stay here. So I've forgotten that this class is supposed to finish at 5:02. I'm afraid it is going to finish at 6. Hope that's going to be okay for you. And take a few breaths here, just feeling your way into the pose. Breathing steady. Lovely. One more breath in and a breath out. And then breathing in, straighten the leg, hands to your hips. Breathe out here. And then we come back into the pose. Turn the left palm over. And on a breath in, come into your reverse warrior. Just feeling your way here. Really feeling an opening, ease of the breath into the left ribs, the left lung. Lovely. On the next breath in, come up to warrior two. Straighten the leg if you want to. And we'll come straight to that version of side angle. Elbow on the knee, right arm dangling. And inhale, open up. Either stay here or exhale, arm over your ear. So you could be looking down at the front foot, or you might like to spin around a little bit under the right armpit, spinning the ribs. Back leg is strong. Beautiful. One more breath in, and then breathe out, look down. And as you breathe in, bring yourself all the way up, feet parallel, hands to your hips, breathe out. And we'll take a funny little twist here, which I quite like, coming to the end of the physical practice. So you're going to just come down with your left hand under your face. If you need to place it on a block or something, that's fine. And your right hand is on your lower back. Absolutely, please bend your knees if you need to. And then begin to twist to the right, lead with the right shoulder, lifting your arm if it's available to you. We'll make this our final posture. So feel your way into it. Just don't have to even go very far into it. The idea is to have a lovely long spine and to spin a little. Let's take one more breath in here and a breath out. And looking down, bring your right hand down and we'll change to the other side. So breathing and opening to the left. Absolutely fine to bend in the knees if you need to. Find your twist, find your spin, your space. One more breath in. And then breathe out. Hands come down. Take a moment, you can just take a moment hanging here, allowing the upper body to pour out of the pelvis. Until you're ready to walk your way around to the front of your mat. Taking a brief downward dog, stretching out in your downward dog. Breathing fully. Inhale. And then exhale, bring yourself to all fours. Come over onto your backs. And take a moment here to feel the back of the body. We're back where we started. Quite a varied practice. See what it's left you with. And I would recommend before coming into Shavasana to take your hands to your knees and to have a soothing circle over your lower back now. Soothing circle. In one direction and then in the opposite direction. And giving yourself a little hug, maybe curling yourself into a little ball. Making sure you're warm enough. So if you are not going to continue for the Hatha Flow class, I would recommend, I always say this, but I want to say it again, I would recommend that you lie now for 10 minutes, resting, allowing the goodness of the practice to do its work. If you jump up and rush into something, you might not absorb the benefits. And you can begin your relaxation by reminding yourself of the quality you wanted to bring into your practice and into your day. And taking maybe a few slightly deeper breaths. And then coming to stillness, coming to simply rest and observe. And if you're leaving me after this relaxation, then thank you very much for joining me, really. I hope it was okay for you. And if you're coming to the Hatha Flow class, I'm going to flick on the Sabre screen and I would recommend that you stay here and rest in between the practices.